last point here is scientific method. When we say scientific method, what are we referring to? Scientific method is a systematic approach. A systematic approach, a systematic process, a systematic method used in investigating a particular phenomenon. Okay? It is a method of inquiry, a method carried out by scientists in order to find solution to a problem, in order to answer a particular question. Okay? Scientific methods is carried out, like I said, systematically. Now, it ranges from observation to classification. We have the hypothesis, experiment, record observation, and conclusion. Now, let me explain everything once. It means that now there's a particular problem that was detected or something that was observed. As a scientist, don't forget the key thing is you taking notes, taking record. And so when a particular question is asked or when a particular problem is discovered, it is observed or something is noticed, okay? A scientist observed something. The next thing he or she does is to classify, okay? For example, I have 10, let's assume I have 10 tins of seedlings. Okay, I have decided to plant beans or maize in 10 buckets or 10 tins. You know what I mean by tin? T-I-N-S. Let's use maybe the Milo tin or what's it called? Custard plastic. Okay, I have 10 of them planted the same day, planted the same time. And so having planted, I do every necessary thing I should, like watering the plants and all that. And I decided to place 5 out of these 10 at the window side and the remaining 5 on the floor at a corner of the room or wherever I have planted. Now, after some days, I observed that the ones at the window side, I'm using this as an illustration, is growing well. Okay, I'm seeing the growth is properly, the seedlings are growing out well. And the ones I kept here, down the room, at a corner, at the dark corner, is not growing properly. That is a problem. That is an observation. Now, it is an observation and it's also a problem because I planted these 10 plants on the same day. So it is expected if, for example, the plants on this day I observed, let's assume it ought to be 3 inches. And unfortunately, the ones in the corner is just half of 1 inch, not even up to 1 inch. And the ones at the window are 3 inches. Then it becomes a problem. So as a scientist, now don't forget we're talking about scientific method. Number 1 is observation. I have observed. Then I classify what I observe. I classify the problem. This is a problem. Then I record, okay, it's been recorded and the 5 at the window is growing well as expected, but this is not growing well. So what's the next thing I do? Hypothesis. Hypothesis, we call it a wise guess. It's a guess. It's not something I'm sure of. Now, me having this, let's assume I invite 2 students and I ask them, okay, why do you think these things are not growing? Okay? Well, student A may say, Ma, it's not growing well, maybe because you don't wet this one properly. They may, are you sure you wet this one well? Are you sure you check the measurement of the water while wetting? Okay, another person will say, could it be that it's at the dark corner of the room? Okay, now these are 2 hypotheses that I need to test. And so I said, okay, maybe the following day, I have to start measuring the water. Okay, so if I'm using 5 cl water for the ones at the window, I may ensure I also use the 5 cl water to wet the ones in the corner. That is me testing hypothesis by student A, telling me to ensure that I use the same measurement of water. And after doing this, maybe for some period, I'm still not getting what I'm expecting. Then I'll go for hypothesis student B. Okay, so I may decide to pick 2 or 3 of the 5 plants in the corner and take them to the window. Then I observe. After observing, from the two, I notice changes, okay? I notice the change that, okay, now the new ones I've brought to the window are growing better than the ones at the corner. Are we getting me now? Okay? Some people may even tell me to change the location. Now, all these things we are doing is experimenting. Me measuring the water, me changing the position or the location of the plant, it's under scientific method experiment. Me working on the hypothesis. Now, after experiment, I've done it, carried on the experiment once or twice. I record my observation. I go through my record. Now, I make a conclusion that, okay, this plant didn't grow well because of due to lack of sunlight. And so, that can be finalized as my conclusion. And so, if this conclusion is well stated and it is observed repeatedly after different or various experiments, it becomes a theory. Do we understand? It becomes a theory. So that is that about scientific